Hey there, patrons. How you doing? It's your boy, Jonathan Macri, with you for another bonus episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. We've got a fun one in store this week. We're doing a little bit of a diversion from what we have been doing throughout the summer. But it is something that we did tease a while back. What? It's not a diversion, Andrew?
We've been doing evergreen drafts, and
yeah, but this is different. We're not evaluating players based on skill or career achievements or anything.
This is one of the more creative ones I think we've ever done.
There you go.
I'll say. Yes.
And what are we doing for this creative draft? Well, before I tell you that, hello to a special guest for the Patreon pod this week. Well, even though he was on last week. Benji Reynolds. Hello, Ben.
Hey, guys. And speak for yourself, not basing it on career achievement.
Well, I think that's a good intro to this. So we are, and the genesis of this, I'll explain in a minute. We are picking the greatest NBA nicknames of all time today. We're going to do a draft style. The genesis of this came when Andrew and I had an offhanded, i.e. not prepared discussion about, I believe it was like where Clyde's nickname ranked.
Yep. When you interviewed Clyde Frazier.
There you go. Yes.
He only gave us 20 minutes. So I say only, like we weren't honored by any minutes that he gave us, but we decided to do a longer intro about his career. And you asked me the question does he have the greatest NBA nickname ever? And we were just like, it's got to be up there, and rattled off a couple, ended the recording, hit send, off on our merry way. And a furious Ben Reynolds
as I would be.
How could you not mention this person and that person and this? How dare you? Do you even watch basketball? Why do you hate so-and-so? And
why are you awful?
I added it to the list of potential topics to one day cover during the off season that got pushed back because this was the summer of Donovan Mitchell.
And here we are. I'm happy that Ben said a minute ago, like, well, speak for yourself as far as career achievements won't really come up in this. I'm not going to attempt to be like, here are the parameters for this discussion. There are no parameters. This is the truest eye of the beauties in the eye of the beholder type of thing.
I have some parameters though.
All right, what do you got?
I'm glad you do. But you should not say that. I don't think any of us should say what our parameters are beforehand. I think they will be revealed as we go through the episode.
Yeah.
But what I love about this is, again, you could like I did this with the greatest Knicks nicknames of all time on a newsletter a few weeks ago. And like I even struggled immensely. Like, how the hell do you grade what makes a great nickname? I know there are, for me, and this I have a feeling this will come up in this episode. I know for me some things that make for not a great nickname. But again, we'll save those. I guess I don't think we need to do any more preamble. We could get right into it. Andrew, do you want to pick the draft order?
Let's do it. I figure once we do the draft order, as it's your turn to make your first pick, you can say what your parameters are. Because I, like Benji, have some parameters that I looked at. As always, we use high card draw, our convoluted system, to decide. I wish the NBA did this for the lottery, by the way.
Could you imagine if
much more fun.
Adam Silver or what's his face, Mark Tatum got up there with
a deck of cards? Yeah. I mean, probably it'd be much more random and much more fun. It's honestly how they used to do the lottery. Put all the names in, all the envelopes in a bowl, and then whichever one was frozen goes first.
That was only slightly more sophisticated.
Yeah, exactly. So hard card draw. We decide who gets the first pick. This is going to be snake order as well. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Great. First card goes to who?
Goes to Benji. So we'll give our guests first try every time. Benji, your card is a
heads
5. Your card is a 5. Okay. Take it.
I haven't gotten over a 7 in this stupid thing.
I'll say this again.
Next.
I don't know. I don't really know if there's an advantage.
I don't think there's an advantage.
I think
this one. I think
there might be an advantage, but go.
Okay. There we go.
Who goes next? You? This is you?
Yeah, we'll go in that order. Okay. Andrew, my card is a Jack.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I would not mind going second here.
Gotta be honest, second. I don't know what your advantages that you guys are pointing to, because I don't have a clear one. Well, okay. Yeah, I think again, beauty in the eye of the beholder. I think I will get 5 nicknames that I like.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to. I don't want to.
Hey,
I don't want anybody to.
John, your card is a
10. I like it.
Right,
I like it. I like it.
I hate you.
So me, Benji, first. And then John.
No, Benji.
No, what I say. Me,
it's Andrew, John, then Benji.
I apologize. Okay.
All right.
So, again, when Benji hit us up about this, we were talking about Clyde Frazier, and like because Clyde is like I just said it because we know him as Clyde. That matters a lot to me.
The synonym. I think is this a square word? The synonymity.
Yeah, somewhat. The fact that if your government name is replaced by what your nickname is, then that matters to me. The other part that I factored into how I did my rankings and my tiers for this list is how great you were. Because there are some back of the bench guys that have really cool nicknames that are toward the bottom of my list. Cool nickname, but like, do I remember you other than a couple moments here and there or the like curiosity of when you were in the game? Having said that, there is one player in my mind that stands above all the rest. And as hard as HBO tried to slander his name, he made sure that he was going to put an Apple TV show out there with his version of the record. And then he was going to go on Hulu and do another documentary all about the Lakers. I'm going with Magic Johnson. So greatest point guard ever. And to me, I don't know him as I say Irvin Johnson and people don't know who that is. And it's like, it's Magic Johnson is his name. So Magic is my first pick.
So I was going to ask the question because if I had the first pick, this would have been my first pick too. Same. Okay. I was going to ask the question, is this objectively the right? Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page. I actually think if you go by, and I have the same qualification system as Andrew just explained, which is like, it's not all about greatness, but like if you're less great, the better your nickname has to be. And I'll be curious if any like non-greats get picked today. Anyway, I think if you combine the synonymity, I'll throw that word out there again, with greatness, after Babe Ruth in all of professional sports history, I think Magic is right after Babe. And then I think there might be even a drop off after that.
I think so too. That would be, that's a great example too. Babe Ruth.
Because nobody knows, a lot of people probably don't even know who George Herman Ruth is, just like Irvin Johnson.
Mm-hmm. I agree with everything that you said. And it sounds like we have some of the very similar parameters. So this could be interesting. I think the one last part of the Magic nickname, and this is important to me in terms of nicknames, it describes the player.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's Magic. That's what he was. Like, the way he played, the charisma, you just had to, he was a Magic to watch, right? So it's like perfect the way it encapsulates him, which is one of the reasons probably that it stuck. But I think that's the indisputable first pick.
To that point, it's me, so I'm going to use baseball analogies. The reason why Rocket was perfect for Roger Clemens is because he dominated people with his power stuff. Yeah. The reason the big unit, Randy Johnson's nickname, was so perfect was because people thought his slider was from a different planet, and this was something out of this world. So yeah, I agree that we do have similar parameters going into this draft. John, you are up with the second pick.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm just going with Clyde.
He's not letting Clyde pass again.
No, because it's not making it back to me. I mean, actually, I don't know.
I didn't think you would get past Benji because it's literally the same order or similar order to last time where Benji gets back-to-back picks.
I think in terms of the nickname replace the name, I don't think that there are a couple other Hall of Fame top 75 level players who, the nickname replace the name 1, 2, maybe. But is Clyde Frazier as great a player as Magic Johnson? Like, no, he's not. But in terms of his meaning to a city, And the fact that the nickname was completely organic and was organic on a few fronts, and it connected this like the era with what made Clyde, which is how cool he was and how he played basketball, and also how he obviously looked and lived off the court. And you get this like triangulation, and then obviously like literally it's Clyde after Clyde Barrow, Bonnie and Clyde, and then the wide brim hats. It all just ties together. It's so perfect. And he's Clyde. I mean, that's who he is. It's Clyde Frazier.
Yeah.
So I think, that's my number. That's my first pick.
Okay. Ben's, you're up.
All right. We're on the Hall of Fame track here.
I think I know who your two picks are.
Dr. J.
That's one. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the first two names I wrote down, Magic and Dr. J.
So it's interesting. Dr. J, as opposed, I guess kind of similar to Clyde, there's not really like a Magic is so great because there's a basketball connotation to it. Like he was Magic on the basketball court. Clyde doesn't really do that. It's more about his off-court persona than it is about his on-court persona, which is why I think it's a step down. And I think Dr. J is sort of in between. Apparently, look this up. The origin of Dr. J goes back to like a friend who used to call him professor, and then they called him doctor. Like not really anything to do with his basketball game. But I will say that there was a sophistication to Julius Erving, the person, that made him like the role model of the time to players, and I would say people alike. It's almost like they're saying he's got a PhD, this guy. Like he is such a refined, both off the court and on the court, like a refined person. And like the fact that he was maybe the greatest dunker of all time, it almost doesn't jive with the name Dr. J. Cause like, but it's like, this guy just had like a PhD in life, man. Like he was the freaking man. And Dr. J like just encapsulates that perfectly. And it's why everybody refers to him as Dr. J. Whoever says Julius Erving, like nobody.
No, it's Dr. J.
He's Dr. J. And just for that reason, it's one of the best nicknames of all time. Plus the fact that the J goes with jumper, and I don't know, it all just kind of works. So that's definitely the pick for me. You're telling me I get another pick? You
get another pick. Yeah. And this is, I would have bet everything that one of the picks was going to be Dr. J. I'm curious where you go. I think I know where you're going to go, but I don't know.
I'm between two.
Oh, I bet you I know the two that you're between two.
And I'm actually going to go to a current basketball player. And I will say something about current nicknames. We have lost the plot. One of the big shames of modern basketball is that I think it's probably because of like shoe branding, initials. We cannot get any more creative than initials. It is downright pathetic what we have become.
Oh,
it's like the same as like the uniform trend where we're just basically becoming like, it's like minimalist garbage, like the Jazz uniforms, the Nets. It's just, there's no style. There's no pizzazz anymore. Maybe it's the fact, I don't know, like Shaq created some nicknames. Marv Albert created some of the nicknames, like, but we've lost the plot. We can't do better than AD and KD and BI. It's like, come on. What has happened to us? With one exception. And while we're still on the Hall of Fame track, allow me to add a future Hall of Famer. And here is a name that I think is used often enough with the player and so encapsulates him both in terms of his origin and in terms of his basketball performance. And that is Giannis, the Greek Freak, Antetokounmpo.
Well done. I have that in my top 10.
Like,
well done.
It's the only current player whose name I have written down on my long list.
Mine too. But really, like, talk about capturing what this guy is. Like, we have never seen anything like this dude. He is a total alien. He is Greek. Okay, that works. Great. It rhymes with freak. Great rhyming is a bonus. Not always good, but a bonus if it does and it rolls off the tongue, which it does.
Works here.
And he's a freak. What else is he? The guy dunks with one dribble from the other opposing foul line. He blocks shots when he's on the weak side. And you saw that Eurobasket, they pass to the other corner, and he's jumping to the top of the rafters to block a shot. The guy was able to, in one of the biggest games of his career, was able to guard the ball handler on a pick and roll, and on a lob to DeAndre Ayton was somehow able to extend 6 arms out and deflect the ball. He is, if nothing else, he is a Greek freak. And there's some great nicknames that are older and have more history, but I do think this will go down as one of the great nicknames. And that's why, especially because we're still on the Hall of Fame, former MVP. Oh, no, Clyde wasn't an MVP. Shoot. Clyde was MVP.
It was MVP. Well, he should have been MVP of the finals. But.
Right. So whatever. But Hall of Fame, let's stick there. Giannis will certainly be that. And that is why Greek Freak is my second pick.
Wow. I did not see that coming at all. Did you, Andrew?
I mean, so I have in my tiers, I have like a clear top 15. Then I have a tier that's called the proper noun. So it's the blank.
Okay.
And after that, and Greek Freak is in my top 5 of that tier. So I'm not, to me, it's a little early, but I'm not, if he wants the guy, he got him,
I think it's, I think there was a chance it would have gotten taken. But I think it's a little early.
You guys hit it that it's the only current player that, I mean, when I think of the point guard, it's Chris Paul, but I think of CP3 as his name. Yeah, it's not the servant or the Slim Reaper. It's KD.
CP3. Can we do a little better?
Nicknames are awful. I think, well, I'm not going to say any of the current nicknames. I think there are a couple of the decent ones, but
there's one other that I thought of, but I'll wait until, two technically, but to the spirit of the exercise, he's very far down my list. But go ahead, John.
I'm not overcomplicating this one. If the greatest player of all time had a halfway decent nickname, I'd probably take it because he's always. I mean, I was Spike Lee. I was the Knicks fan who loved watching Michael Jordan for reasons I can't really fully explain.
Yes, you can.
But what?
Because he's the greatest player to watch.
He's the greatest player. And if Air Jordan is not the most apt, I mean, I don't need to talk about why Air Jordan is a great nickname. It fit. He still gets referred to as like Air Jordan.
Well, he put it in the brand. That helped.
Yeah, but so to me, branding it usually takes it a step down. But when it works,
I'm with you.
When it works as well as it does, on a number of, So Air Jordan will be my second pick.
I had this, just to be transparent, I had this much lower on my list. Because
I did too.
When I think Michael Jordan, I think Michael Jordan. Like I go to his name before that. And like the second thing I think of for
MJ
referring to him is MJ. You know,
and then honest, GOAT.
Well, the GOAT is more for group chats and Twitter arguments. But when I think Air Jordan, the apparel is more what I think of before I think of the person or the player.
I think maybe because I'm older than you guys. I think that this is maybe something where the age difference will come.
I agree with that. Also, because when we really watched Jordan, he was more of the mid-range assassin than he was Air Jordan at that point. Like late 80s, early 90s, Jordan is the one that was jumping out of the freaking gym every single possession.
So
the reason Air Jordans have made billions upon billions of dollars is because of he's one of the greatest aerial acrobats of all time, in addition to being a great player.
But I guess my point is, when you refer to MJ, like I just did it. Like you refer to him as MJ. When I refer to Magic Johnson, I'm referring him to Magic.
Or just Magic. You could just say Magic.
Or Dr. J, which is, I guess,
And you don't just say Air. Nobody ever says Air. It's Air Jordan. Or
Air J at that in that sense, you know?
Weird.
That would be weird. Instead of MJ is my point. Like
I'm happy with this. I really wanted this.
We're still on the Hall of Fame trajectory. We're still in the Hall of Fame. Let's see if Andrew breaks the Hall of Fame pattern.
I think I have to.
I don't think you have to.
Well, again, I got to go back to like, oh, no, this guy's a Hall of Famer. So again, I'm going back to how I refer to these people. And the first one I'll mention from my two picks here is Pistol Pete.
Oh, I was hoping he would fall.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Because I don't know him as anything other than Pistol Pete. I got to be honest, like Maravich, I have to be reminded from time to time that this guy, his last name was Pete Maravich. I only know Pete Maravich because his name is Pistol, so that at least is my first one.
That's a great pick.
I can go a couple different directions with this. There's one that I'm struggling with because the nickname is great. It's not what I know him as. So I will go. This is where I go off of the Hall of Fame track and go specifically to how I know a person. I got to be honest. I had written out my entire cheat sheet. You guys see it now on the screen. Like I'd written it out. And then I was just going through, like, did I miss any? And I discovered this one. I was like, oh shit, that is one. And it went right to like number 5 on my list. I'm going Penny Hardaway with this next one because I only know him as Penny Hardaway. And this is where my age, I just got in when Penny was on his rise. So I know what it was like to root for Penny Hardaway in the mid 90s. The commercial with Chris Rock and the puppet, where it was the anti-Penny or Lil Penny technically, but it was like the opposite of his personality.
Little Penny, Lil L-I-L,
Lil Penny. There's a nickname, Lil. The commercial then that Shaq did later that summer when he was flirting with free agency, where he swats Lil Penny off of a couch, and it
wasn't the real Lil Penny.
It wasn't, but it was symbolic of the drama going on in Orlando at the time. So yeah, I'll go Penny Hardaway with my next one.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one.
Let me just say about Pistol Pete real quick.
Go ahead.
I love Pistol Pete also because again, it encapsulates the player. Like you think of like a gunslinger, you think of someone who was playing off the cuff. He was an improviser. It's so instinctual. And like, that's who he was. I mean, he was, if nothing else, an entertainer, an improviser. That's why Pistol Pete's so great. Penny's interesting because I think it was his nickname from like when he was a very young kid, from what I understand, and like doesn't really have a basketball reason. But you're right that like he's just Penny Hardaway. That's who he is. So
I gotta be honest, it's because I was so young and we didn't have the internet. I thought Anthony Hardaway was another player.
I love that. Magic. Yeah, I feel that.
So when they were like, I didn't have Twitter or Wikipedia or like Google to go look. They only referred to him as Penny Hardaway. Again, they didn't put Irvin Magic Johnson on the graphics on TNT. It was always Magic Johnson. So I guess at that point it was NBC or TNT. So
I'm sticking with the guys who were cool customers on the court. And I'm going even a little bit more literal with the next one. I'm going to go the Iceman, George Gervin here.
George Gervin. Well done.
And obviously, again, they spun this into marketing nonsense as he was much older. And I think he was like in beer commercials or whatever. I don't really care. One of like easily on my top 5 list of players that I would have given anything to see, like be around and like alive while they were in their primes. But from everything, you read about him and like all the stats that like this guy was just, and that's not even just the NBA. It was when he was obviously dominating the ABA along with Dr. J. Were there some great nicknames to come out of the ABA, including one that I don't know if it's going to get picked. Anyway, I mean, there's not much to this nickname. He was cool on the court, and that stuck with him. And I love the name. I've always loved this nickname. So Iceman, George Gervin will be my pick.
I like it.
All right.
You got 2, Benji.
Okay. Number 1, the mailman. Karl Malone.
Shout out to Yash.
Shout out. Yes.
Now, here's what I love about this nickname. And I think this was the origin of it. Like nothing particularly flashy, but has there ever been more of a guarantee of 25 and 12 on 50% shooting in the history of the NBA? Like,
nope.
Automatic mixture of like pick and pop elbow jumpers, little post ups. Has That turnaround jumper was absolute money, a great rebounder. Like the man just delivered what he delivered until famously, of course, he didn't deliver. Was it was it Chuck or it was Chuck? Was it who said it? Jordan said it.
Mailman doesn't deliver on Sundays?
It was Jordan.
Yeah, it was Michael that said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of game one.
Incredible line.
Yeah.
Which I think adds to the nickname because he didn't deliver that one time or, but it encapsulates the player. It was used, I think, he was the mailman. Like that was very much used in commonplace and obviously just a great player. So that's my first pick.
Okay.
The explanation being as simple as 2 words is also pretty great.
Yeah, like exactly.
The mailman. Why is it? He delivers,
Oh man. And then my second pick, I have a couple different ways.
I wonder if you're going to take
I'm going on by far the worst player. On any possible list.
Okay.
Pretty inconsequential career.
Wow. What is this going to be?
I'm lost now. Hold on.
I love this one. I'm going with Tractor Trailer.
Oh, no, you're not.
No, I absolutely am.
Robert Trailer gotta mention. I love it.
Hear me out.
I want you to retract any criticism that you gave us for forgetting fucking anything when we did that pod several months ago.
Trailer.
Hear me out.
Yeah, we're all ears.
When you hear a player named Tractor Trailer, what person would come to your mind? He is a tractor trailer in human form playing basketball. There has never been potentially a nickname other than maybe Magic Johnson that more perfectly encapsulates who this player was. Couldn't really move fast, was an absolute monster of a human being, just massive, literally looked like an automotive bus, whatever you call it, was walking on and playing basketball, just running over people with very little grace and very little athleticism. That's Robert Tractor Trailer. It's a perfect nickname. He stunk. He should rest in peace, poor guy. Yeah. But it's a perfect nickname. Pitch perfect.
I would have, if you were going in that sort of direction, I would have gone with somebody else, and I'll save it because I actually might take it. All right. So mailman and tractor trailer. My God, how things went off the rails for you.
The shock.
What does that mean?
On my face.
I've never thought that you've ever said anything for a bit, and I'm wondering if you did that for
no, it's not a bit.
Yeah, it's dead ass.
Wait.
The trailer.
This is about nicknames.
This is a great nickname. Yes, I think so. My only comment, Benji, is that if anybody has to Google the person that we mentioned,
everyone knows Tractor Trailer.
I don't think
argue so. No.
I think the 3 of us, which is why John and I were so shocked that you picked him.
Once traded for Dirk Nowitzki.
Yes. That's what he's known for. Yeah.
Does he have a nickname?
The difference in weight between those two big boys.
I'm gonna look at Dirk.
Look it up. Well, I'm deciding now between a couple. No, I gotta. So,
German Jesus.
No, absolutely not.
I'm just saying what his nickname on Basketball Reference is. He goes by Dirk. That's the nickname. Like when you refer to him, it's like, oh yeah, Dirk.
He's actually the unicorn.
There are so many directions I could go here. I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I'm going to go with the glove.
Good one, John.
Thank you. Which is great if for no other reason that it spawned his son's nickname, the Mitten, which I think is a cute little offshoot.
That's great.
And appropriate. Boy, can that guy play fucking defense? Yeah, I mean, it's Gary Payton. He was the best perimeter defender in the league for, I don't know, better part of a decade. It would just the nickname fit like a glove, and yeah, it's appropriate in every way. Again, it was never anything that needed to be forced. It was like anytime there was a national TV game on and they were doing the first 5-minute introductions to the players, it was like, yep, there's the glove, Gary Payton. It's just And it was just, again, I'm trying to stick with the theme of like, these were badass, cool nicknames. So Clyde,
like tractor trailer,
Air Jordan, the Iceman, and the glove.
Okay.
Andrew, your last two picks.
My last two picks. So we didn't discuss this before, but I know we're time crunching right now. Do you want to stop at 5 or do you want to go to 7? Because I think we're moving through.
I think we could just do 5 and then do
5 and then a bunch of honorables.
Mentions.
Okay, that's even better.
It's going to make it tougher.
Well, then my last two picks, then it actually makes it a little easier. From you know what? No, because I was hoping I would be able to stock up and get to 7. So my first one will be a guy who, so he got the nickname in college, but the nickname then also was part of a move that he had when he was in the pros. Any Knick fan knows about the Dream Shake.
And it was, damn it.
And how terrifying and how heartbreaking it was to watch how he played against Patrick Ewing. I'll go with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Really he got this nickname in college after he dunked so effortlessly that his coach said it looked like a dream. He and his teammate, which we won't mention here, I have like honorable mentions of like teams, like separate teams. So Phi Slamma Jamma, the Dream Team. For Knicks fans, the Bomb Squad. There's now a documentary with the trailer dropped today of the Redeem Team from 2008, which is actually a very perfect nickname for that team after what happened in 04.
TMC.
Run TMC, exactly. Showtime.
The Bad Boy Pistons.
The Bad Boys. Yeah, so you get it. So I'll go with the Dream for my first one. And since this is the last pick, I was going to save this for my last pick. And I don't care if this isn't like what we know him for or what his actual nickname is. What those 3 weeks were ended up being some of the highest highs I've ever felt as a Knick fan. So I'm going Linsanity as my last pick. Again, Benji, this is probably would have been my 7th. I have so many other ones. I'm going Linsanity with my last one.
Is Linsanity Jeremy Lin? Or
Yeah,
is Linsanity
you
experience?
Took the words out of my mouth.
I think he will, when you say Linsanity, you think Jeremy Lin. Well, and I think another part of this that I'm pointing to is that a lot of the guys that we've talked about today, they have a nickname and the documentary about their life is named after them. There's a documentary on HBO coming next month called Linsanity. And the hilarious part about Linsanity is, I guess it's called 38 at the Garden. So forget that I ever said that, but it's about Linsanity.
That's staying in. That's like
okay. My bad. Damn it. Regardless, there is a documentary that is out on Netflix that you can watch called Linsanity. And it's about Jeremy and about his life. For me personally, listen, if this loses the draft, fine. I needed Linsanity or a Knick represented on my team. There's one other that I'm curious if John or you go to, but just for when I think of Linsanity, it's like, oh yeah, those 3 weeks were nuts. I'll go with that one.
Okay.
I contend that that's not a nickname.
I mean, if he wants to go with it, you know,
under protest, got it.
Tractor trailer was a better pick.
No one had to Google Linsanity.
That's true.
I'll say what my other one was if none of you take it. It's my number one honorable mention right now. Like, so what's going to be my 5th pick if it wasn't my last pick?
I think we'll do this for honorable mention. I mean, there are so many names that I feel like I could take now. For me personally, there are, I would say 2 or 3 in contention for me to take. I think I would have taken Hakeem the Dream if that was available to me. Mm-hmm. That is not available to me. This is really tough. I feel like I'm putting together a team of nicknames, which is just weird.
So what, you need a power forward right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you need what are you putting Gervin at center or power forward?
He wasn't a center.
He was not.
All right,
I'm not gonna have a center on this team.
You have no answer for the tractor on your team.
Spoiler alert: the answer is a pretty good nickname.
We're drafting nicknames here.
Again, I'm thinking AI is what I call him. You know.
What was the answer to exactly?
If there's another thing that the player goes by predominantly, I don't love like the player. I feel like his reputation has gotten not his bad reputation or anything, but like it's similar to Malone. I always just thought this nickname was just fit. I mean, it fit for obvious reasons.
I know. Yeah, I know where you're going.
I don't know if you do.
I do.
Is it
the Admiral?
Yeah, the proper noun.
That's not where I was going.
Oh yeah, the Admiral's my my third on the list.
The Admiral's good.
So the Admiral, David Robinson, and again, for I don't know how many younger listeners we have to Patreon, but David Robinson got drafted and then didn't play in the NBA for 2 more years because he was serving out his military duty in the Navy. And he graduated, I think, I'm pretty sure, from what was it? What Navy is West Point, right? Or is it no? It's Annapolis, I think. Yeah, I think it's Annapolis.
Sure.
Double check that for me. Anyway, the Admiral just fit, and like he was on paper, he was like second or third best player in the sport for a while. I don't know if he ever actually was like top 3 player of the sport. I mean, I know we won MVP. He finished. I mean, his stats and accolades are off the charts. If anyone wants to look from like when he first came into the league to basically late 90s. Did not think I was going to take the Admiral, but that's what I'm going with here.
That is Annapolis, by the way.
Annapolis,
Annapolis, Maryland.
Great pick. Fits him well too. Like obviously, he was actually in the military. But
he was in it. Yes, 100.
Like he was just like the way he was built, the way he looked, a clean cut. Like he was such a and like he was a leader. He was like
look good in a uniform.
It works. Oh yeah, Simmons has a great in his book has a great paragraph or two about like just looking at David Robinson play basketball. Like perfect like specimen of a player.
Yep.
All right, this is my last pick.
Last pick.
Jeez. Can I combine 2 nicknames?
No, you cannot.
What?
Can I take White Chocolate Thunder?
White Chocolate Thunder.
Oh,
I have them next to each other. Jason Williams and Daryl Dawkins.
Because those are 2 the next 2 on my list. I love them both so much. I will take, because I couldn't take him in the 5th pick draft because John stole him from me. I will take Chocolate Thunder with this pick.
Okay.
Great nickname. Great personality, encapsulate. He broke backboards. That's kind of how he got this nickname. Like he named his dunks. He was explosive. He was powerful. Just kind of captures who he was as a player. So I really like Chocolate Thunder. White Chocolate would be my first honorable mention for obvious reasons. A great nickname. Just a great nickname.
I'm going to give my first honorable mention is I'm going to do a few honorable mentions. My first one I think is going to be Human Highlight Film for Dominique Wilkins, which I really almost took.
Dominique,
isn't it highlight reel?
See, that's one of the reasons I didn't take it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't know.
And here's where my age comes in. The Human Highlight Reel is Vince Carter. The Human Highlight Film is Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, so that was under strong consideration. Tiny Archibald is just, I mean, that's the other guy I was thinking of.
Almost too literal for me.
But like nobody knows
he was tiny.
Yeah, he was a small guard. And then some Rain Man, Sean Kemp. I was thinking of it too, just because it was just so fitting. I mean, when he dunked, man, there was nothing quite like when Sean Kemp brought it down. And then I have some more, but the only other one I want to say very quick, because I was occasionally managed to shout out this book. Marvin Bad News Barnes was a player who was much more notable in the ABA. I don't even think he ever played in the NBA, but in Terry Pluto's oral history of the American Basketball Association, Loose Balls, read it for the Marvin Bad News Barnes stories alone, and you will see why there was perhaps never a more fitting nickname in basketball history than Bad News, because he was bad news. Andrew, any other?
The one I was gonna take at number 5, if it wasn't my last pick, was the mound round of rebound.
That's where I said I was thinking you should have gone instead of fucking tractor trailer.
What? The round to rebound. Who you can't even, if an announcer is announcing the game, you can't say nice play by the round to rebound. It's too long.
Well, if he gets a big rebound, it's like the round of
another
rebound.
Botched play by tractor trailer. Oh, come on. That's great.
Tragic Johnson alert. Tragic Bronson alert. Tragic Bronson alert. There you go, Shaq.
It's great. It's a little long, but it's a great nickname.
What's the one nickname you go to for Shaq?
Diesel, probably.
Okay. I like Diesel also.
Sure.
The big Aristotle, the big Aristotle.
No, if anything, it's
big
Diesel.
Cactus.
Diesel, I don't think it's a great nickname. I will say one that I had in mind that Shaq actually, I believe, coined was the big fundamental for Tim Duncan.
For Tim Duncan.
Yeah. Which is a good one because that's Tim Duncan. I love that one.
What was the current one you guys had that wasn't Freak? That wasn't Greek Freak?
I didn't have any on my list.
I had the process.
The process.
There's a lot of funny context to that name that I appreciate, and that Joel Embiid, like, it's cool that he kind of leans into it.
There's 2 more I thought of.
I think Joker's pretty good.
Joker's one, the beard. Now there was no chance I was taking the beard, and then it's just his initials and his number, but PG-13 actually is a pretty cool nickname. Because it can have a connotation of something else, which is more
a movie that's not hard enough to be R. But
Paul George couldn't be more PG if he tried.
You guys he's a PG movie player. Okay,
so I got some others. I want to
just be PG.
I want to shout out Hondo, the great John Havlicek. It's just, I mean, that's another one. It's just a cool nickname, Hondo.
I have a whole Celtics division that we don't have to get into, but yeah, the Hick from French Lick,
Clyde the Glide Drexler
had that one.
I think is a great one. And then some more off the beaten path ones. The Chief. I always loved the Chief for Robert Parrish.
He looks like a Chief. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It looks like it. Yeah.
It's so fitting, of course, named after the character in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The Worm, I feel like, gets forgotten about for Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. They kind of overdid it in the 90s a bit. Everyone had a nickname in the 90s. We've gone too far the other way, though.
Everybody kind of overdid it with the criticism of Rodman. Now, granted, I think it's also gone, like Benji just said, the other way in excusing some of his behavior. And I think there's enough of a middle ground where it's like, yeah, he was kind of wild in the 90s. And then you could also be like, he was kind of vilified too much in the 90s.
Speaking of very 90s nicknames, Thunder Dan Marley.
Dan. Yeah.
That is as 90s.
And that one to me, though, is like he wasn't Thunder. Like that's not who he was.
It didn't really fit.
You know what I mean? Like it does like Chocolate Thunder works for Thunder. Like Dan Marley wasn't Thunder.
I was never a big Matrix guy for Sean Marion, but I feel like that gets a lot. And then just last couple, and we're going back for these, David Skywalker Thompson did not have the NBA career he should have had because I think it's some off-court issues, as many players did during the 70s. And then just shout out to what I think you could argue is certainly in the conversation for greatest nickname in Knicks history, putting Clyde aside, is Nat Sweetwater Clifton, who is one of the early greats in NBA history. Love drinking soda pop. There's actually a little bit more behind the name, which I wrote about a few weeks ago, but I'll leave it at that. Anything else?
I would have thought that John, if not both of you, would have considered the Pearl Monroe.
So go ahead, John. Are you going to say it?
Go watch the clip from He Got Game. Denzel does it better than I can do. His original nickname was just Jesus. Well, but here's the thing. It was Jesus, and then they had to add the black because white audiences started to watch him. So like, oh, he's Black Jesus. So there's like several layers of complication in that. And then they gave him the really, white audience fitting nickname, the Pearl, the Pearl. So
it's Spike Lee's fault that you didn't select Earl the Pearl as
good job by Spike Lee bringing that to light. In He Got Game.
Yeah.
Great. It's a great monologue from Denzel. It's fantastic.
Yes.
I also think the better nickname for Pearl coincides with Clyde, the Rolls Royce backcourt,
Oh, that's pretty good.
All my other ones are, I had some like a whole Knicks division, whether it be Starbury, which is very far down on my list, the Pearl, obviously, the X-Man, Grandmama for Larry Johnson. Name the show that was referenced on, that's from.
I know it. Do you know, Benji?
No freaking clue.
He not only was a reference, he actually got up in the full outfit in Family Matters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Grandmama, Family Matters. Yeah.
But he was also LJ.
That's another part of it.
Well, there are some current players that have, like, the Slim Reaper actually thought if KD had embraced it would have been great. And he was like, no, I'm the servant. And he's been on an emotional journey to figure out who he is ever since.
That's true.
So Boogie Cousins, but I know him as Boogie, but that's just so far down the list.
Boogie's pretty good.
It's from a Drake lyric, but Chef Curry would have been great. The one I had trouble with, which if we had gotten to 7, I might have thought about it with my 6th pick. I know Kobe is Kobe.
Okay.
But Black Mamba,
you know what? I was just going to say, the only thing I'm upset about on this episode is I didn't get to do my rant.
Oh.
I'll make this quick. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. We miss you. Love you. All the things. That nickname, and this is documented in an ESPN story, was a contrived thing from Kobe to try to rehabilitate his image after he was accused of doing some very bad things in a Colorado hotel room. And he's like, I need to be reborn. I'll be reborn as a black snake that was in some fucking Western. I forget what movie. It is the most bullshit nickname in the history of professional sports.
Yes.
I abhor how much it has caught on over the years. It is awful in every sense of the word. It is everything a nickname should not be.
I think you might have.
It couldn't be less organic.
Help me do a 180 on the nickname.
It could not be less organic.
Thank you. Could not be less. Thank you.
You nailed it. Organic. All right. Can I run down my quick hour?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Okay. So the one I would have probably picked next is the microwave, Vinny Johnson.
Vinny Johnson.
Which is, again, like, great one. That's what he was. He came off the bench. He just started drilling jumpers on people, he was a microwave. He heated up quick. That was him. Then I have Skip to My Lou, Rafer Alston.
Oh, I like that. That's a good job.
Which is a very cool one because it was actually his name when he was a street baller. And then he became an NBA player and it kind of stuck. But it was cool in general that there was like an actual street baller with a nickname that was in the NBA and was a pretty decent player. Big Shot Bob.
On my list, yeah. Along with Big Game James.
Big Shot Bob's better.
It's interesting to me that Linsanity made it, but Vinsanity.
You guys.
I don't think it's a great nickname. I don't really like it, but
it's not bad.
Worth a mention. Some of my least favorites. The Big Ticket for Garnett. Just never did it for me.
Same.
In my Celtics list, along with the Truth.
The Answer for Iverson. It's not clear to me what the question was.
I'm going to look that up before the end of the pod.
I looked it up. Someone in high school gave it to him. Was like, you're the answer to the NBA's problems. Basically, like the NBA was like, I think the implication was like the NBA is getting kind of boring.
I kind of think Iverson. I think Iverson caused more questions than answers personally. But all right, okay, whatever, sure.
You know what? I'm more partial to the answer than you are.
All right, I'll accept it. The Truth, I think, stinks. Well, I'm not sure what makes him the Truth. He pretended to get hurt when he pooped his pants. That's not true.
It's false.
The false.
It could be the truth. It could be the truth.
And then I think Birdman's a great nickname.
Yes,
Birdman's good
on my list.
And he speaking of embracing nicknames, the guy would, after he dunked, would go back on defense with his arms out. Bird.
The literal first thing I think of when I think of Birdman is Shaq doing the Birdman.
Yeah, exactly.
On TNT,
exactly.
You know?
And then if Steve Francis was actually became good, Stevie Franchise would have been cool, but he never became a franchise.
That's a mid 2000s all-star right there.
And the last current player I have is the Claw for Kawhi. A little bit forced and a little bit like the glove, a little bit of a ripoff of the glove. But he also tried to embrace it, but he doesn't have any charisma, so he wasn't able to actually pull it off because he was doing this for a while after he made stops, where his teammates were.
I cannot
get
behind that one.
I'm with you. But those were all of my honorable mentions. A fun exercise, boys. Thanks for indulging me in this.
I had fun.
Thank you for indulging us and bringing your customary energy to this exercise.
As well as a mention. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Robert Tractor, that is going to go down. That's a top 5 KFS moment for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it would be on someone's list.
It was so far down on my
list. Let's read off our list and then we'll get out of here.
My list: Magic Johnson, Pistol Pete Maravich, Anthony Penny Hardaway, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, and Linsanity Jeremy Lin.
My list: Walt Clyde Frazier, Air Jordan, the Iceman George Gervin, the Glove Gary Payton, and the Admiral David Robinson.
I don't have my list in front of me, so I'm gonna hopefully I get this right. Dr. J.
Correct.
That's correct.
The Greek Freak.
That's correct.
The Mailman.
Yeah.
Tractor Trailer.
We're forgetting this one.
And Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah, Daryl
White Chocolate Thunder.
You're not getting Jason Williams too. This was great. Thank you, Benji.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
As always.
And of course, most of all, thank you to our patrons. You guys are awesome. We got another good one coming up next week, which I need to talk to Andrew about, but it's gonna be something good. I promise you that. Until then, take care. Talk to you soon.